Boom, and we are live. It is Chris. I'm with the Phoenix RIA and my partner in crime, Luke. And then we got Tim.
Hey, y'all.
Tim, I've known, I don't know, probably 4 or 5 years now, it seems like, maybe back in 2017. And Tim has been my kind of guy for short-term rentals. He worked for a company that managed like 30 mansions in Paradise Valley. And, and as the short-term rentals change, and we knew the changes were going to happen, there was kind of like, how long has short-term rentals, Tim, been like something that's been a major thing, like 5-6 years? Or
so yeah, just kind of starting at the top, and thanks again for having me on the show today, Chris. But starting at the top, kind of what makes vacation rentals legal is that 2016 law, State Bill 1350. So to answer your question of when did vacation rentals kind of come to prominence, it was obviously a little before 2016 because it was an issue, it was unregulated, and there was need to kind of bring everything together, which came in 2016. And that's the protection we've enjoyed since.
Right.
Is State Bill or Senate Bill 1350 that essentially says municipalities cannot regulate short-term rentals any differently than long-term rentals. So that's been the legal authority that we have operated under since 2016.
Yeah, and since call it 2016, now you got everybody doing short-term rentals, and obviously when interest rates went super low, obviously short-term rentals started cash flowing way better than they did before.
Yeah.
You go from a 5% interest rate to a 3% interest rate. I kind of feel like everybody's like, oh, let me get at least 3 or 4 of these under my belt. Just which kind of comes in a question is like, is South Scottsdale oversaturated with short-term rentals? Like everybody wants to know that. I think everybody.
I want to know that.
Well, I think that's the $1 million question that everybody's looking to answer. I do know that demand was down this summer across the board for everyone. What we don't know is, was that demand just regressing to the 2019 pre-pandemic summers that we all became accustomed to? And maybe we were just greedy with the COVID LA travelers coming down here for the summers.
Yeah.
Maybe we're just regressing back to the mean. Basic economics, right? Supply and demand control price. If demand remains constant or goes back to 2019 numbers, but supply is now at 2022 numbers, obviously price is going down.
Right.
So,
right.
I don't know if it's oversaturated, but I know that basic economics tell me that average daily rental rate is going down significantly.
Well, I can tell you, I was looking to book a hotel in Key West for Labor Day. And prior to, in the last 2 years, you wanted to book any hotel in Key West, like on a weekend, it was like $1,000. $700
Right.
I'm looking at hotels at like $400 to $500, but I really think people with COVID, like, where can I go and not leave the country and take a COVID test? I think that's just, what it was.
Yeah.
Absolutely. I think that's a huge part of why Airbnbs really, took off over the last couple of years for sure as well. It was a cheaper, option where people didn't necessarily have to worry about it. So you could drive, you can just pick a close place a couple hours away. You can go 4 or 5 hours away and you can hit, 3 or 4 different Airbnbs on the way there.
Yeah. And I know in 2020, 2021, in the height of COVID, we experienced as an industry, really experienced that new type of COVID traveler, right? They're traveling because we remained open. LA came down here, Beverly Hills came down here. I know us individually speaking, we had the people that lived in Malibu saying, hey, I can't walk out of my front door onto the beaches of Malibu. I'll come pay you $40,000 a month to stay in your house, right? Like that was unheard of in the summers, right?
Right.
And that's just, that demand isn't there right now. So, there's that, but what is happened is we have continued to grow supply. Cause like you said, grow demand. Cause like you said, Chris, everybody wants to go to these one-off destination vacation spots, right? And especially here in Scottsdale, it's the bachelor and bachelorette capital, right? How many
no joke.
bachelor parties do we hear coming here? And so, sure, has some of the price cooled, but we know demand has continued to rise as well.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah, it's funny. I don't go to Old Town too much. I'm getting too old, but like, you're like, oh, there's a bachelorette party. I mean, you can pick out the bachelorette parties a little easier than the bachelor parties. They put all their stuff on, they're walking around with their straws, but there's like,
that's because all the bachelor parties, the guys are still wasted from playing golf.
So anyway, we got on the call to just talk about the law in 2016, but we're really here to talk about the new law that's really come into play, and it's passed, but it's not actually law yet, right? Is that what I'm understanding? And then,
yeah. So I know Chris and I, we talked just recently about the Senate Bill 1168, and that's the Mesnard bill. The Mesnard bill, it passed. It has been passed and signed into law. It takes effect in September.
Okay.
And what this bill essentially does is this. This bill grants cities and municipalities the right to issue and revoke business licenses for specific Airbnb properties. So what does that mean? It means that each individual property must register with, well, let me take a step back. What that means is it gives the cities the right to create an ordinance. Now, there's a new law, so these ordinances are not yet created, right? However, I can almost assure you the city of Scottsdale, Phoenix, Paradise Valley, Sedona, Flagstaff, anywhere where you want to own a vacation rental, I can guarantee you is working on these ordinances right now. And what I'm going to say is generally what they will boil down to mean, right? So let's be clear. None of these have taken effect yet. They will have the opportunity to take effect beginning in September, right? When these cities pass the ordinance, no one knows. But essentially what these ordinances will now say is it will give the cities the right to issue the license. The license can be no more than $200. But more importantly, the cities can revoke the license. Now, and let's go over how these licenses can be revoked, because they can be revoked two ways. The first way it can be revoked is if an individual property has 3 nuisance citations at the property within a rolling 12-month period.
Okay.
Technically, the law says public safety. So what does that mean? It means an unruly gathering. Do you know that in Paradise Valley, an unruly gathering is 5 or more people?
wow.
Chris, you've never had a couple of those, have you?
Never, not at my place.
Right? Never by yourself with your buddies out there smoking a cigar, right? That's by law, by the letter of the law, that is an unruly gathering.
Oh, wow.
Right?
Wow.
And you have that neighbor who wants to be a thorn in the side or has the clout to be the thorn in the side and gets the police there and, hey, there's 6 people and that's an unruly gathering, right?
Wow.
Now, I will say it's my understanding that the cities are not going to be ticky-tacky, right? With the parking citations and things like that. But it's real. If you're disturbing the neighborhood, you're going to be out of business. That's the reality of it, right? That's what this new law says. If you're disturbing the neighborhood, you're going to be out of business.
And so Tim, I got a question for you. So how does that work in the sense then where, so obviously this is a new law, but do HOAs, city to city, community to community, they have the ability to outlaw them anyway, correct?
I candidly don't know what HOAs do and don't have the authority to do.
Okay.
I would assume they do, but I don't know that answer. I was
curious if you knew that, because I know, so the neighborhood that I live in Gilbert, there was a large amount of Airbnbs going on in my neighborhood. And so the HOA actually had they had a vote for it, whether they were going to allow Airbnbs or not, or short-term rentals, and they ended up turning it. And so there's no Airbnbs allowed in my neighborhood anymore. And so
I've heard the same story with Clearwater Hills in Paradise Valley. They allowed Airbnbs 3 weekends in a row. There was 3 events or 3 parties, 3 neighborhood disturbances in a row. HOA met first month they proposed it, second month they voted on it. Now it's a 12-month minimum.
Yep, exactly. Exactly.
I mean,
Well-
just so from a pure acquisition standpoint, I always advise to not purchase in an HOA for that particular reason.
Exactly.
But essentially, coming back to this Senate Bill 1168, the cities now have the right to say, essentially, 3 strikes and you're out. You've had 3 parties, you've had 3 noise violations, and that's in a rolling 12-month period, right? 12 months, the police come out to your house, they pull out their decibel reader, they tell you're too loud, they issue a citation to your guest. And also now, from what I understand, the homeowner gets a citation as well. And
so they actually give the guest a citation too, right?
Correct. That's what triggers it, is when the guest receives a citation.
Now the homeowner should be able to give the guest that citation that they received. You think about that, they should.
Well, I will say this. That most responsible homeowners I know now, most of the management companies that I work with now are all implementing a $500 to $1,000 noise policy. They take that hold on the credit card when the guest checks in. They sign an additional addendum that says, I will not be loud after whatever the local city ordinance is, 9 p.m. I will not allow events. And now if that guest violates it, they already have that $500 on hold.
Right.
And it gives the management company the right to evict them, keep their money, and protect the neighborhood safe, right? And really their asset safe to continuing to produce revenue.
Which, I mean, yeah, it's smart. I feel like you kind of almost have to have stuff like that in place now, because I mean, just from my opinion, from being on Airbnb and being a host, I personally feel like Airbnb is 1,000% taking the guests back opposed to the actual host. And again, that's just my take on it. Anytime we ever have anything come up, they side with the guest every time. The guest gets their money back. I personally feel like it's pretty one-sided in that sense. So I feel like you almost do need to put stuff like that in place to protect yourself.
So
I mean, you guys tell me what you think. Do you guys agree with that statement or no?
Well, I've only had one disagreement with a guest, and I did get a citation, then I just kicked them out. And, but they put actually a horrible review, and I'm like, I sent a ticket. I'm like, I got a ticket from the city. Like,
exactly.
I'm like, how are you going to give me a bad review when they clearly were too loud and I got a ticket?
Yeah, exactly.
So I just got the review removed. That's all that Airbnb.
You did, okay. That's good then.
But what I got Tim on here is Tim started a new company to help monitor all this and take all the heartache away from the homeowner. So why don't you tell us about that, Tim?
That's awesome.
I will. And before I jump into that STVR security, let me go back to this bill and the 3 strikes and you're out, because there's also an important caveat in here I want to add, that the cities can have a 1 strike and you're out policy as well. And that 1 strike is if a homeowner or its designee knowingly allows for a commercial event. Right. And so that if that occurs, the burden is on the city to take that to superior court, right? Not a local magistrate. So a superior court, and prove that, hey, Tim was managing this property and he allowed this commercial party to happen. Right. If that happens, it's 1 strike and you're out. And the only other thing I want to highlight here, because this is an investment group, is that license being revoked stays with the property for 12 months. So, Luke, if you own a property and you get 3 strikes and you're out in January, and you sell that to Chris in February, well, Chris cannot operate as a vacation rental until he reapplies.
Wow.
In January.
Whew. So that really gets you, man. Those are serious right there.
Yeah, so I think it's more important than ever to kind of protect that asset and the opportunity. And as Chris was mentioning, I was with Parsons Villas. They've been awarded, I think, the Scottsdale's #1 luxury manager, 3 or 4 years in a row. But the new company is STVR Security. where we essentially monitor these vacation rental properties for the spikes in noise and Bluetooth connected devices, right, within range. And then if we do receive that alert or this spike, we have our security experts that will call the guest. They'll text message the guest. And these security experts are all trained like they're the front desk of the Ritz-Carlton, right? And they will call. We have a custom phone number on behalf of Chris Iman. So if you're one of his guests, we call the guest, hey, Mr. Guest, this is Chris Iman's management company. Yep. We got an alert. You're being a little too loud. Just to remind you, it's a quiet family neighborhood. You know, please respect the local noise ordinance, right? And then if it does get to the point where we need to dispatch a security guard, we dispatch at that time after the guest has continued it. Now, what I will say, though, is that when we do have to dispatch a security guard, that would trigger that guest already having that $500 noise violation triggered, right?
Right.
We called them. It's a half hour has gone by or 15 minutes, whatever the warning is, right? Because if it's a Bluetooth alert and we have 100 Bluetooth devices that just showed up, holy hell, we better hurry up and take action right away. This is a party continuing to happen. So that might be a 15-minute alert. Where if it's a noise spike and it's just staying there, it might be a 25 or a 30-minute reaching out to the guest, calling, text messaging. And again, that's all done under the white label of Chris Iman Vacation Homes.
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
So what's that? Right. So how do you get the Bluetooth alert? Like, is that just people logging onto the Wi-Fi, or like what is like Bluetooth alert? Like what is that?
So it's Bluetooth enabled devices. So anytime someone has a Bluetooth enabled device, you know how you have on your cell phone, you can turn your Bluetooth on or off.
Yeah.
Right.
So anytime that is on and it's within a range, right, a ping range, it's going to connect and it's going to say, hey, we have 10 devices within our pinging range. We have 20, we have 30. And, you know, we recognize the patterns and we know, hey, this is the house that sleeps 16 guys. Yeah. We're going to have 40 devices connected, right? But when there's all of a sudden 200, holy cow.
Right, exactly. Wow, that's crazy. That's really cool.
Yeah, so that's what we've been working on. We've been growing it. We're excited to take this to market here pretty soon.
And now, Tim, how does that device work in the household?
So it's a battery-powered device. Well, it can be connected one of two ways. It can either be battery-powered or it can be hardwired into the home.
Yeah, yeah.
Whatever the homeowner wants or the management company wants to do. We do alert. We found that most will use the battery-powered option. So we monitor, as STVR Security, we monitor that battery strength, and we'll notify you as a management company whenever we get below, 25 and then 10% of the level. Knowing you're in the house twice, sometimes 3 times a week anyway, we give you plenty of time to get that thing charged in between guests.
Right.
That's cool. It's just like a little hockey puck. It plugs into the charger.
I didn't even know that was out there. That's cool.
Yeah,
for sure. Wow. And it's really crazy. We have not added this functionality yet, but as we build out this process, I've learned about so many new technologies. And one of the technologies that, again, we chose not to add this feature on, but we could say, hey, whenever we get that alert that we have too many phones connected, to automatically connect to that Ring doorbell and run a computer AI to tell us how many faces are coming through that door.
Wow.
Insane. Cool. I mean, it's cool. It's cool and crazy at the same time.
Yeah, yeah.
And again, we chose not to go with that functionality because, we think we can solve that problem without that cost.
For sure. For sure. And then it comes down to, you always have the guests saying, oh, I don't like you guys having cameras up. I don't like you guys watching us. I'm sure you got some of that before in the past.
Yeah, but I mean, you guys own Airbnbs. It's pretty common, right? The Ring doorbell,
for sure.
Something at the backyard facing the pool.
Yeah, for sure.
It's pretty common that way, right?
So what?
Do you guys install cameras?
We have cameras on a couple of them, but not all of them.
I don't. I'm going to probably install some, but I'm just going to sign up for my security team.
Exactly.
That's right. Yeah.
I mean, that's just like an insurance policy, right?
No joke.
Yeah, exactly. So the ranges are 1 through 4 homes. It's $125 per month per home, and then 5 through 20 homes, it's 99, and 21 or more homes, it's the enterprise level at 75 per home per month.
Yeah, it's an insurance policy.
Yeah, that's right, and especially now that it's written into law. And like I said, I mean, it might not be there yet, right? It's officially not a Scottsdale ordinance, but you're damn better believe it's coming, and it's coming fast,
exactly.
right? I mean, I was on the phone with Airbnb's lobbyist, Jonathan Payton, the other day. Just kind of wanted to make sure I was understanding the bills, everything properly, and that we were talking about some of these issues with how many people are actually going to get the licenses once they're required to, right? And how quickly are the cities going to pass these ordinances, right? Is it October? Is it November? But
right.
And hopefully and I think this is important too, just from a legislative side of things, that it's my understanding that part of this negotiation that Airbnb and team had with the cities, the League of Cities, which kind of negotiates on behalf of the cities, that the League of Cities kind of agreed in principle not to go after any more of the Senate Bill 1350 protections, and to kind of leave it alone now that these cities have teeth to get the bad actors out. So we remember that 1350 is what was passed in 2016. That's what gives us the right to operate to begin with. So we think it's a good thing. We talked a little bit, Luke, about how Sedona might not be on board with that. We think they're still may push for density issues and density laws. Obviously, I think we all as Americans have very big issues with that.
No, for sure. Absolutely. So, Tim, are you going to just be rolling this out in the Phoenix, Scottsdale area, or all of Arizona? What's kind of the plan with it for where it's going to be?
Yeah, so we'll be mostly in the quote unquote in the Valley, Scottsdale, Paradise Valley, Phoenix, Gilbert, Glendale, Cave Creek, Chandler, neck of the woods. This side of the mountain. I heard you have a couple up north. Is that right, Luke?
Yeah. That's where most of them are up north.
Okay. But yeah, I think it makes the most sense. I mean, heck, there's almost 13,000 vacation rentals, single family homes, 13,000.
Yeah.
In the valley, or not single family homes, but entire units being rented out.
And
wow,
so
that's a big number.
And so that's in Phoenix, Paradise Valley, and Scottsdale. 12,500 plus.
Wow. So you were saying that if it gets too loud, it'll dispatch an actual security type team.
So if it gets too loud, we receive an alert.
Okay.
When that alert goes off, we log in and we see, is this an actual alert? What kind of alert is it? Or is this a false positive? Right. That happens. So once we determine it's an actual alert, our security experts go through a battery of text messages and phone calls to the guest.
Okay.
And again, that messaging is crafted as if they're getting the call from the front desk concierge at the Ritz.
Yeah, exactly. Right.
And then from there, if after our allotted time limit, 15 minutes, a half hour, whatever, and that nuisance does not go down, we will then dispatch our own STVR security guard.
Right.
That security guard shows up. And now at this point, the guest has already triggered the $500 fine. They've already triggered it, right? The security guard will assess the situation. Is it a party? Do we need to stop this and shut it down immediately and get everybody out? Or is it, 4 guys in the backyard having way too good of a time because they brought the club home with them, right?
Right.
We make contact with the guest. We understand, hey, Mr. Guest, you're having a great time. You got to respect the neighborhood, though, right? You got to be quiet. Now's your last chance to quiet down.
Right.
And then if we do have to the immediate eviction, we monitor that process. We take pictures of license plates. We write, we take I don't want to call it a police report, but we put together an incident report that we detail the who, what, where, why, when, and how.
Yeah.
And then on Monday, we email that out to the management company.
Right.
And what's Airbnb and VRBO's policy on parties? Are you allowed to immediately evict them? Is that in their policy?
Yeah. I mean, I don't want to speak for their policy, but it's my understanding that no one, including Airbnb and Vrbo, allow parties.
Yeah.
Right.
And then that triggers the first time lose of the license. It's got to be commercial, right?
No. Just 3 nuisance violations, a public safety citation. That could be too loud. And I don't know. Do you guys know about these new Paradise Valley laws that passed?
I know they did their noise ordinance from like 7 to 7, didn't they? Or
well, not just that, Chris, but the new noise ordinance is all they have to do is be able to hear you from the edge of the property. It doesn't even have to exceed a level. They just have to hear you. Yeah, that's the new. If they hear you by law, you are now violated a city ordinance of being too loud. And God forbid you got 6 guys in there, and that's an unruly gathering.
That's when you got to start hiding the people.
Think about 6 guys hanging around the backyard pool. Like,
oh my God, I feel
doing cannonballs off the roof.
Right? No, we've never done that before.
Never.
Chris, what are you gonna do for your holiday party?
I'm gonna have to do it at a hotel. They just, my holiday party's over.
You can't take that chance.
Over, Rover.
That's really it. I think that's really it. I think that they're gonna patrol those types of things, right? Like,
man.
I know, for example, one time in Paradise Valley, and this was a while ago, but it wasn't even a commercial event. We did like a yoga photo shoot at one of our properties, and we had a parking incident, but we had 30 people there, models, and they were like, "This is a commercial event. You guys are all getting a citation."
Jeez.
So, I mean, we've had in Paradise Valley where we knew that we were not allowed to host an event at this house. We were very clear with people. We didn't host an event, but they had people come and go. We explained parking was an issue. So they had a golf cart shuttling people. Well, all of a sudden they thought that was a commercial event because we had a golf cart. We're like, what more could we have done here? Right? Like, we've gone above and beyond.
Chris's last holiday party had 3 Ferraris outside. They were parked on the grass, weren't they? You had 3 Ferraris parked on
the Scottsdale Ferrari out there.
Yeah.
I love it.
Oops.
Can't do that.
Why didn't I get the invite? I like cannonballs.
It was a casino night. We ended up raising like $5,000 or $6,000 for ALS, so it was good.
Yeah.
That's awesome. Well, keep me in the loop for the next year's.
Yeah, sounds like I'm not having it. I'm gonna have to go to rent out a venue.
Yeah.
That's right. Well, no, you just got to have the new device there and make sure everyone knows they got to stay quiet.
Remember
turn off the Bluetooth.
Yeah, exactly.
Remember, I had to shut down the party at 9:00 because the neighbor knows that the ordinance starts at 9:00. Remember?
Yeah, I do remember.
I shut everything down at 9:00.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, and it's crazy now. Paradise Valley, like I said, they can just hear it from the road. They just have to hear it. Doesn't have to exceed a level.
Man.
I have one neighbor that's definitely going to cause me problems with my Airbnb. So I'm going to go ahead and sign up with Tim now and get. What's great is you're putting documentation together, right? To like make sure that the tenant signs that, hey, you've read this, you've read the rules. Like,
so we have that document that we provide to you, but you as the management company would execute that on the front end with your guests when they sign in.
Yeah.
Yeah. So we have that document that's like our generic boilerplate that we recommend you use.
Mm-hmm.
But that logistically, that's something that you, the manager, would do at time of booking with the guest.
All right. Well, I need to get signed up so I can get that because I'm booked all through December. I got 2 weeks in January already booked. I got a week in February booked. I just want to send them like, hey, the rules here. Here's the thing you're gonna have to sign. Like, if you want to bail now, I'd rather just get you off my calendar so I can.
Yep. Open it back up for that Super Bowl.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that's exactly it. And like I said, I mean, not everyone has started implementing this $500 noise policy, but all the good, responsible ones that I know of are, right? I mean, I think that's such an easy thing to do. And because this industry is so fractured, I don't want to say fractured, but so new, right? It's such a new industry. it's commonplace in hotels to do that, right? When was the last time you didn't put a hold
Absolutely.
on your credit card?
Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely. No
So-
doubt about it.
All right. Well, yeah. Thanks again for having me on this today, Chris. This was good.
Yeah, no problem. Thanks for jumping on. And we'll, as more cities start putting stuff in place, text us, and we'll have you jump on again, and we'll keep everybody up to date.
Heck yeah.
Yeah, for sure. Thanks, guys.
I like
That's
it.
it.
Thanks, Tim. Appreciate it.